What's happening, tennis players? Today we have a fun one. This is a little bit more advanced, and if you're a Federer fan, you're really gonna like it. But hey, who doesn't like some trick shots? And this one is definitely a cool one. We're talking about the fading slice, and this is something that's much easier to do on the backhand than the forehand, and therefore we're just gonna cover the backhand. The backhand is really where we saw Fed utilize this as well. So the fading slice is a ball that doesn't stay in the same trajectory it's hit, meaning like it's staying more on a straight line. A fading slice breaks. So you probably remember the drop shots or the different shots that Federer has hit, where not only did he hit it and open up the court, but then the ball faded away and made it almost impossible to cover, oftentimes a winner or a forced error. So the fading slice, before we jump into exactly how to do it, let me just talk about Federer's slice backhand first. It's not exactly the technique that you want to copy, specifically because of the finish. You see, Federer finishes in a U. We've talked about this in other videos. We see Francis Tiafoe do the same thing. But for most players, it's going to be easier to allow the racket to finish in the direction you're hitting the shot. Now, for the fader, I think this unique finish in a U actually makes it easier. So this is something we're going to talk about again in a moment. But so the fading slice, the important thing is your positioning. All right, it doesn't work if you're too far on the outer thirds of the court because the ball is going to fade out. You want to be more towards the middle of the court, and you want to play the ball almost inside out. So as the ball is coming more into the body, you want to play the ball away from you, right? So you can see why this doesn't work, because as I move towards the outer thirds, if the ball does this, it's going to find itself in the alley. So positioning is everything. The second thing we're going to talk about is where to make contact, where you're aiming for on the ball. So on a traditional slice, you're aiming towards what would be the forehead of the ball. Now that's not actually where you make contact. As the racket comes in and you're hitting slice, you're actually making contact more on the chin of the ball. But you want to make the racket move as if you're aiming towards the forehead. Now on a fading slice, imagine the ball has a clock face, with 12 o'clock being the forehead and 6 o'clock being the chin. We want to aim for contact around 5 o'clock, but the movement of the racket should operate so that you're coming at 6 and then moving towards 5, right? So as the ball is here, the racket's going to operate on the inside of it and allow that ball to curve out to its target. Okay, so remember, on the traditional slice, you're going through the ball. You want the racket to go in the direction that the ball is going. Now, in the Federer slice, we're coming back to that Federer finish with the U, because you're trying to get more excessive spin through it. You want it to operate through here, all right? And the goal is very different. You know, driving slice, I mean, both slices are about to they're used to keep the opponent off balance, right? And if you're hitting a really nice penetrating slice, it typically gets the opponent to back up. The fading slice is something that breaks the plane so that you end up winning court position by getting them off the court. Now, if you play it really soft, you get that sweet drop shot that more than likely is going to be a winner, all right? So the big takeaways here is make sure that you're aiming towards that 5 o'clock. Your positioning is more towards the center of the court. Don't play the fading slice from the outer thirds. And then thirdly, make sure you're working through you. Allow the racket tip to finish down with the butt cap up, as opposed to the penetrating slice where you're going to have the racket follow the ball. Hope you enjoyed it. This was a fun one. Definitely a creative way to torment your opponent. But something that's definitely situational, but it's a nice tool to have in the utility belt. If you enjoyed today's video, you know the drill. Hit subscribe, like, all that good stuff. And if you're looking for tennis players to play tennis with and compete, practice, or maybe even a lesson, be sure you check out the Play Your Court community. I'll see you next time. Take care, guys.